Chapter One Little Woman. Luo Xiaoya, in the presidential suite on the top floor, the guest has designated you for a massage. Sister Xiao at the front desk put down the phone and shouted to Luo Xiaoya. Oh, I know. Luo Xiaoya responded calmly. She really wanted to go home. She was already changing out of her uniform and getting off work, but she didn't want to have another massage task temporarily. There is no way the rules of Kazama are like this. In addition to completing the tasks every day, the guest's designations must be followed. Otherwise, they will leave directly from Kazama. However, as long as the person is expelled from Kazama, any hotel with massage services in City T will no longer accept this person. Go ahead and get off work after completing this task. Luo Xiaoya knew that the night was already deep, but for a blind person like her, there was never any difference between day and night in this world. Luo Xiaoya walked towards the elevator. Although she couldn't see it, she felt very good. She fumbled with her fingers and quickly pressed the number on the top floor. She stood quietly in the elevator. Although she had long been accustomed to the life here, tonight, for some reason, her eyelids kept beating, which made her panic. When they arrived, the elevator had stopped. Luo Xiaoya stepped out of the elevator gracefully, her beautiful big eyes looking straight ahead. If she had known that she was invisible, no one would have believed that such an exquisite little woman could be blind. But she is really a blind person. The innermost room is the presidential suite. No one is more familiar with every part of Kazama than her. Standing in front of the door, Luo Xiaoya took a deep breath as usual and then gently knocked on the door of the presidential suite. Come in. As soon as her hand fell, a man's voice came from the room. That voice made Luo Xiaoya startled. She remembered people and things by their voices, so with just 2 words, she remembered who the current guest in the presidential suite was. At that moment, she really wanted to escape. Caret asterisk. She didn't like Pei Xiaoheng and even hated him a little, but the idea only stayed in her mind for a second before she rejected it. She is a masseuse and she does not have the right to choose her clients, so even if it is very annoying, she can only endure it. She gently opened the door, but as soon as she stepped in with 1 foot or even before it landed, a gasp came from the room. Well, Xiaoheng, be gentle. The sound was so harsh, and it was not concealed at all by Luo Xiaoya's entry at this time. Luo Xiaoya paused for a moment, but she was relieved. She is blind, and she can't see anything. This is the benefit of customers liking blind masseurs. Walking calmly towards the center of the room, Luo Xiaoya quickly stood in front of the big bed that was filled with a unique atmosphere at the moment. Sir, when will the massage start? On the bed, Pei Xiaoheng raised his eyebrows and glanced at the calm Luo Xiaoya. Although his hand was pressing the woman in front of him and kissing him, at this moment, when Luo Xiaoya stood in front of him, he actually lost all feeling. Luo Xiaoya, this was the 3rd time he had seen her. Looking at her clean little face that had not been sculpted in any way, he raised his voice and said, Now. Chapter 2 Prank. Pei Xiaoheng's voice was right in front of her, invisible to her eyes, but she felt the strong, mischievous tone in his tone. She smiled softly, ignoring the unbearable smell around her. Out of sight was out of mind. She really couldn't see. Then, just ignore it. She skillfully held the edge of the bed and jumped onto the bed lightly. She said, Sir, please lie down. Xiaoheng, no, I don't want you to lie down. This position is just right. While protesting against Luo Xiaoya, the woman actually snorted. In her ears, there was also the sound of the woman's unabashed lips and tongue coming into contact with the man's skin during the kiss. Luo Xiaoya still chuckled indifferently. Sir, since you are so busy, why not wait until you are done, and I will massage you. Otherwise, excuse me in advance. After all, it's not good to have sex with this young lady. She said lightly and wanted to stop. What she hated the most was men like Pei Xiaoheng, who only care about those who can't eat. And she was the person he had missed before, and she was also the woman who rejected him twice in a row. Pei Xiaoheng lay comfortably on the pillow, thinking that he could tease Luo Xiaya well, and then. But now Luo Xiaya didn't fall into the trap he had laid long ago at all. She was not angry, nor was she angry. She didn't even react at all when she heard the voice of the woman in front of him. It was the clear and rouge-free face that aroused his reaction. God, he just liked her face. It was so clean. A lotus that was as clean as the mud but not stained made him fall in love with her smile the first time he saw her. So beautiful. At that moment, Pei Xiaoheng was in a daze. He could no longer bear the kiss of the woman next to him. At this time, the only thing left in his eyes and heart was Luo Xiaoya in front of him. 360 search. The wolf-like CEO is too fierce. Updates quickly. It was because he had seen too many Yans that he fell in love with Luo Xiaoya's innocence, which was rare in a city with many high-rise buildings. Even Luo Xiaoya's casually tied ponytail was so beautiful, and there seemed to be a girlish fragrance on it, which was tantalizing and tempting. Perhaps it was because of her innocence that she rejected him twice, but Pei Xiaoheng allowed him to do it again and again, but he did not allow him to be rejected a third time. With a kick, he coldly kicked the head of the woman who was busy in front of him. This kick caught the woman off guard. Ah, she cried out in pain and put her hand on the head that he just kicked. What? What are you doing? Pei Xiaoheng reached out and picked up the wallet on the side and then threw a stack of pink banknotes on the woman's body. Get out. His movements were done in one go, without any sloppiness. He looked so cool. The woman was slightly startled, and the first time she reacted was reluctance. But when she saw Pei Xiaoheng's frosty face, she still kept silent knowingly, and then finally, she climbed up from him without being shy at all, got out of bed, tidied her clothes, quickly picked up the coins, and walked towards the door in embarrassment. When passing Luo Xiaya, she couldn't help but look at Luo Xiaya. That glance made her understand what distance meant. That pure beauty with a hint of youthfulness was something she could never pretend to be in her whole life. Because those are the natural emanations from the bones, and they are definitely not something that will happen just because you want them. Chapter 3: Orange Juice. The door was closed with a bang. The room fell silent for an instant. Luo Xiaya greeted the bed with a smile. Sir, can we start? It was her usual professional smile, but even such a smile could move a man's heart. Fortunately, Kazama was more formal than other hotels, so even if a guest wanted to bring someone out, they would never dare to force it without the consent of the person concerned. Pei Xiaoheng was really discouraged because, looking at the harmless face in front of him, he really couldn't do anything. Looking into her eyes, they are so beautiful that they are reminiscent of purple grapes, and her face is especially pure. If they didn't know it in advance, no one would believe that such a girl would be blind. But he just fell in love with a blind girl. Pei Xiaoheng tried hard to suppress the desire in his heart. He said quietly, I want to drink something first and then massage. Since he couldn't do it, he could let the woman crawl to him automatically and consciously, but he needed to create the conditions himself. Okay. Luo Xiaya responded in a deep voice. The guest has always been God, so if he wanted to drink something, she could only obey him. Pei Xiaoheng looked at Luo Xiaya in front of him. He knew that she had always been vigilant. This girl had an alertness that was beyond ordinary people. However, he had to give it a try because he was Pei Xiaoheng and he didn't want to lose so miserably. Pei Xiaoheng picked up the glass of wine that had been filled on the table. He took a sip and said, Miss Luo, would you like a glass of wine too? He knew that she would refuse, but his words were just an introduction. He had already thought of a way to make her drink. Luo Xiaya shook her head. Sir, I apologize. This is during working hours, and I can't drink. Oh, yes, I forgot. If you can't drink, just drink a glass of orange juice. Here you go. This is unopened orange juice. This orange juice was brought in by the woman before, but she didn't want it to be used by him now. Luo Xiaoya still shook her head. No, thank you, sir. Why? Don't you even dare to drink orange juice from an unopened bottle? Are you afraid of me? Raising his eyebrows, Pei Xiaoheng glanced at Luo Xiaoya. He was going to bet on her tonight. Luo Xiaoya felt a little embarrassed. Thinking of her repeated rejections, her mind changed, and she stretched out her little hand to Pei Xiaoheng. Haha, thank you, Mr. Pei. Pei Xiaoheng immediately handed the orange juice to Luo Xiaoya excitedly and watched the woman in front of him fumble to find the bottle cap. Although her movements were skillful, it still made people feel that she was invisible. It was a pity that such a girl could not see this beautiful world. Luo Xiaoya twisted it gently, but the orange juice bottle cap stubbornly refused to let her open it. As expected, it had never been opened, which made Luo Xiaoya relieved. Another twist, and the orange juice bottle finally opened. Opposite me, Pei Xiaoheng had seen all of Luo Xiaoya's reaction just now. Seeing that she was really about to drink, he calmly handed her a cup that had just been prepared on the table. Use a cup. It will be comfortable to drink and taste better. Pei Xiaoheng's voice was very soft, which made Luo Xiaoya really let go of her guard. She casually took the cup Pei Xiaoheng handed her and then slowly poured the orange juice into the transparent cup. When Pei Xiaoheng watched the yellow liquid finally pouring into Luo Xiaoya's mouth, her heart was in her throat and finally dropped. She drank. Then this night, she belonged to him. Smiling softly, Pei Xiaoheng silently stepped on the carpet to the door, then picked up the Do Not Disturb sign and hung it on the handle outside the door. At night, the silence is filled with endless longing. Chapter 4 is wrong. When Pei Xiaoheng returned to the room full of longing, Luo Xiaoya turned around at some point, and a pair of invisible eyes fell directly on him. Pei Xiaoheng was startled by that gaze. He believed that if she could see, then he might not be able to get the glass of orange juice. But it was because she couldn't see it that she fulfilled him. Mr. Pei, can we start now? It was still that harmless face, and the smile was so full that his whole body tensed up and wanted to hold her in his arms. This was really the first time Pei Xiaoheng wanted a woman so strongly. Therefore, even if the means are a bit harsh, what he wants is only the result, not the process. That's it, Pei Xiaoheng said, and walked directly to the big bed in the middle of the room. When he lay down on the bed, Luo Xiaoya had already followed. Soon, Luo Xiaoya's hand fell on him professionally, either lightly or heavily, making Pei Xiaoheng close his eyes comfortably. He liked the feeling when Luo Xiaoya's hand touched his skin. Although he knew that this was just a job for her, to him, it didn't feel like that kind of job at all. While enjoying it, she was also waiting for the orange juice Luo Xiaoya drank to react. At that time, she would take the initiative to wrap herself around his body and want him to love her more. Men are so evil that at this moment they begin to imagine that a woman's white and dazzling body will be beautiful when she automatically takes off all her clothes. She will be the most beautiful at that moment. They say that if a woman can't see when she does all that, it will be more interesting, but she is born invisible. Caret asterisk. Xiaoya, how old are you? Pei Xiaoheng almost had a nosebleed imagining the fragrant scene. In order to prevent the nosebleed from flowing out, he hurriedly talked to Luo Xiaoya without saying anything. 21. She whispered, and her hand fell on Pei Xiaoheng's waist, but strangely, the moment her hand fell, she suddenly felt a little warm. Maybe the indoor air conditioner was turned on too high. Without thinking about anything else, Luo Xiaoya continued her very professional massage movements. So young, Pei Xiaoheng said to himself, but for such a young girl, she lost her sight prematurely and missed this gorgeous and beautiful world prematurely. Among all her perceptions, apart from touch, she was the only one left with hearing. Luo Xiaoya didn't respond, but moved one hand unconsciously to the collar during the pause, and then loosened a button on the collar of the uniform. She really felt the heat. The heat made her a little impetuous, and she didn't know how to suppress it. But Luo Xiaoya's silent movements caught Pei Xiaoheng's eyes, because at this time, He was tilting his head and looking in her direction, and he saw her pretty face gradually turning bright red, and the original whiteness seemed to be coated with a layer of rouge, which made people salivate. He raised his hand slightly, feeling that as soon as he touched her now, she would want him uncontrollably. At that time, Chapter 5A sudden phone call. But just when his hand was about to touch Luo Xiaoya's face, music rang in the room. Shit, that was his ringtone. I wonder who the hell actually called him at such an important moment. Pei Xiaoheng didn't want to answer, not at all. Mr. Pei, your phone number. But Luo Xiaoya reminded him at the right time. Pei Xiaoheng had no choice but to open it. When his eyes glanced at the screen, he suddenly woke up. It was actually the old man's call. Pei Xiaoheng sat up and quickly pressed the answer button with his fingers. Father, are you looking for me? Xiaoheng, something happened to your mother. You'd better come to the hospital now. What? Pei Xiaoheng moved from one ear to the other. Although he didn't panic, he was really worried when he heard that something happened to his mother. Your mother fell from the balcony and suffered a brain hemorrhage. Pei Yongxing's voice was already trembling when he said this. This was the first time Pei Xiaoheng heard his father's panicked voice. He didn't have time to think about anything else. He immediately said, I will be at the hospital in 20 minutes. After saying that, he grabbed his clothes and ran to the door while putting them on. At this moment, he simply forgot about Luo Xiaoya's existence, because just when he was on the phone, Luo Xiaoya felt uncomfortable and went to the bathroom. Therefore, Pei Xiaoheng, who did not see anyone, forgot Luo Xiaoya in the presidential suite in a hurry. Ugh! Luo Xiaoya kept slapping her face with water, but the heat persisted and made her whole body feel uncomfortable. This discomfort made her, who was always neatly dressed, unbutton her collar to the third button. This was definitely rare, but she didn't know it. At this time, Luo Xiaoya's thinking had begun to slow down. The originally dark world was magically covered with a hazy color. She could not see anything, but she seemed to be longing for something in her heart. Wow. The faucet had been turned to the maximum, but no matter how hard she washed her hands and face, it was of no use. She was still hot. At this moment, the work on her body rang. Luo Xiaoya, why haven't you come down yet? And Xiao Xiao in the lobby asked her with a familiar smile. Luo Xiaoya was stunned for a while, and then she came back to her senses. Oh, I still have a customer who hasn't finished the massage, and I have to wait a while before getting off work. Hey, why are you making such a loud noise from the water, idiot? Are you in the bathroom? Yeah, I'm washing my hands. Oh, that's right. No wonder you didn't know that your guest has left the hotel, so you can get off work now. Xiaoya, do you want to invite me to a barbecue? And Xiao Xiao wanted to give Luo Xiaoya a meal. Luo Xiaoya patted her forehead with water again. Xiao Xiao, I'm feeling a little uncomfortable today. Let's try another day. Then you go home quickly. If it doesn't work, go see a doctor. Don't delay. Yes, I understand. Luo Xiaoya responded softly, then put down the phone and prepared to get off work. When she returned to the room, Pei Xiaoheng was not there. The smell of love between Pei Xiaoheng and the woman just now remained in the empty room. For some reason, smelling the smell only made her feel hotter. Luo Xiaoya just wanted to leave quickly. She wanted to take a cold shower to cool down the heat on her body. Staggering slightly back to the dressing room, Luo Xiaoya changed out of her uniform and quietly left through the side door of Fengjian at midnight. It only took 5 minutes to walk from Fengjian to her small home. As she walked on the familiar road home, Luo Zhao's body gradually became limp, as if she was floating as she walked. Alarm bells began to ring in her mind, but by this time it was too late. With a muffled sound of bang, Luo Xiaoya bumped into a man. The collision made her moan softly, unconsciously. Go away, you don't want the money, and I don't want it either. A cold growl sounded, and then Luo Xiaoya was pushed hard and disgustedly by a big hand. In confusion, her feet went soft, and Luo Xiaoya fell at the man's feet unprepared. Chapter 6, So Shameless. It hurt, It hurt, but the pain couldn't overcome the intense heat that surged up all over her body. She couldn't see anything in the darkness, and the fall made her unconsciously wave her hands to catch something. One leg, her hand touched one leg, and holding that leg, she wanted to stand up, then walk home and take a cold shower to relieve her physical discomfort. But at this moment, the owner of the leg that her hand touched suddenly bent down with disdain, grabbed her long hair, and pulled her head back. Long Xiaoli said coldly, "Woman, why don't you let go? How shameless." Shameless. Only 4 words, but they penetrated into Luo Xiaoya's heart like a knife. She was not shameless. Her consciousness suddenly became a little clearer because of these 4 words. Then, she didn't know where the strength came from, and Luo Xiaoya slapped her hand. She really slapped it casually based on her feeling, because she couldn't see it. But this slap hit Long Xiaoli's face with precision and magic. There was a crisp sound, and at this moment, Long Xiaoli became angry. At this moment, Luo Xiaoya aroused all his curiosity. "Woman, don't blame me for not warning you in advance. You brought it all on yourself." With one hand raised, Long Xiaoli picked up Luo Xiaoya like an eagle picking up a chicken, and then carried her casually, and Luo Xiaoya fell on his shoulders. A nice smell of cologne mixed with a touch of alcohol hit Luo Xiaoya's nose. She was a little confused. This strange feeling in her body made her kick Long Xiaoli's shoulder, but it was no use. That slap had already made Long Xiaoli angry. It was the first time a woman dared to hit him, and she was still a woman who wanted to stand on the street. Carrying Luo Xiaoya on his shoulders, Long Xiaoli strode towards the black Rolls-Royce he had just parked on the roadside. When he arrived, he held the woman in one hand and opened the car door with the other. With a bang, Luo Xiaoya was thrown into the car. It was the latest extended-length RV, Long Xiaoli, who followed Luo Xiaoya into the car, smiled coldly in the dark, and then pressed a button. The seat in front of me slowly tilted and then changed rapidly, but in an instant, the seat turned into a bed that could no longer be said to be small in this car. "Ugh!" Luo Xiaoya moaned softly, her little hand still waving, and when she unconsciously touched Long Xiaoli's arm, the cold touch made her extremely comfortable. At this time, she had completely lost herself and knew nothing. She only knew that she had to grab the arm that made her feel comfortable, and then stick to it. Long Xiaoli, who was sitting on the small bed in the car, gasped. Although the woman's little hand only lightly slid over his arm, the feeling of touch made him feel as uncomfortable as being shocked by electricity. Chapter 7: The Invisible World. At the end of my nose, I smelled a touch of incense, which was the faint aroma of soap locust. In this era, does anyone still use such ancient things? Long Xiaoli didn't move. He wanted to see what the woman could do to get into his body. There was a hand flying around randomly, but the obstruction of her clothes made Luo Xiaoya impatient again. Well, just when Long Xiaoli thought she would unbutton a shirt one by one like other women, Luo Xiaoya rolled up his shirt out of impatience. In the darkness, no one could see anyone's appearance clearly, but Luo Xiaoya's delicate red lips fell gently and impatiently. But at this moment, Luo Xiaoya couldn't see anything. Likewise, in the darkness, Long Xiaoli couldn't see her face either. He just knew that the woman in front of him seemed to have some extraordinary enthusiasm. This is a feeling I have never had before. All the woman's movements were unstructured, and they were no different from other women. However, it was this lack of order, and it was this random kiss that made Long Xiaoli uncomfortable. God, that speed was so fast, faster than any woman in his memory had ever given him a strong feeling. His hand fell on the woman's hair very naturally. When he stroked it gently, the smooth, silky feeling made him close his eyes in enjoyment. The kiss was still going on, but he wanted to see how she was going to tease him. Will it be as special as just now? Caret asterisk. Luo Xiaoya was completely intoxicated, and her brain was no longer under her control. Smelling with alcohol, Long Xiaoli smiled evilly when he saw Luo Xiaoya's reaction. This woman really knew how to put on a show. Even her jerky reaction was perfectly executed. She was a natural acting genius. It was a pity that she chose the wrong career. She chose to be a girl instead of an actress. Thinking of the woman's identity, he suddenly just wanted to have a quick fight and get laid quickly. When it was over, he threw away the money and left. He could never be entangled with such a woman. So, in the darkness, Luo Xiaoya became a dessert on his lips, soft and graceful. Finally, everything calmed down. Long Shali held the corner of his lips disdainfully, took out a wad of banknotes from a hidden compartment in the car, stuffed it into the woman's pants pocket, and said coldly, "Woman, you can get off the car." Chapter 8, Leave Her Alone. After Long Shali finished speaking, he opened the car door. The fresh wind outside the car then drifted into the car. The wind blew the comfortable feeling outside the car. Long Shali leaned back and changed into a comfortable posture and leaned on the back of the car. He was waiting for the woman to get off the car and then drove to the car wash to clean up the mess on the car. He didn't want the smell of a woman to occupy his Rolls Royce. But the woman in the car seemed to have not heard anything and still lay motionless on the makeshift bed in the car. "Woman, I asked you to get out of the car. Did you hear me?" Long Shali was a little angry. The alcohol in his body was reacting, making his temper even more violent. The roar was so loud, but Luo Xiaoya didn't hear it at all. She fell asleep. Just now, what the man did to her made her tired and turned over to dream about Duke Zhou. Long Shali was furious. He quickly moved to Luo Xiaoya's side again, impatiently grabbed her hair, and pulled her to sit up. "Did you hear what I said? I'm letting you get off the car." He pulled her head so close to him. In the darkness, he seemed to see a beautiful face, but the alcohol made it impossible for him to see it clearly, or maybe he didn't want to see it clearly. He knew that some women like to sleep when they are done, but it was a bit strange to sleep like this. He had called her several times, and the voice was so loud. Faking it. She must be faking it. At this thought, Long Shali completely lost his patience. He didn't want this woman to wake up and grab him and make him responsible. So, without thinking, he pulled a blanket from the car, wrapped Luo Xiaoya in the blanket casually, and stuffed her clothes and pants into the blanket. If she wanted to sleep, she wanted to sleep outside the car. His car was not her bedroom. She was the one who provoked him, and it had nothing to do with him. Without mercy, Long Shali carried the woman and stepped out of the car, then threw Luo Xiaoya directly on the ground, pretending that it was her own business, and sleeping was also her own business. From then on, everything about her had nothing to do with him, but he gave her at least 3,000 to 4,000 RMB. Clapping his hands, Long Shali turned around and sat in the cab. When he started the car, the bright light of the car lights finally hit the woman's body, but it was through a blanket that Long Shali could only see a squirming body. The woman woke up, and she was pretending as expected. She smiled coldly. It seemed that he had done the right thing by throwing her out.